Welcome to the 101 on Sports here on Fox 2. I'm your host, Brooke Grimsley. This week we have a special treat for you. We are talking to Cardinals newcomer and outfielder Richie Palacios. Richie quickly became a fan favorite because of the passion and energy that he exudes on and off the field. We talked to him about his offseason plans and his plans with the Cardinals for 2024. Richie, thank you so much for joining us this offseason. First off, where are you at right now?
Thanks for having me, Brooke. Right now, I'm in New York. Taking this time, this next week and a half to let my body recover and spend some quality time with my family. So I'm in New York City right now.
And so you're at your parents' house enjoying things, kind of relax a little bit?
Yeah, I'm probably driving them crazy because they're not used to my brother and I being at home so much. So that's what we're doing right now.
I'm sure it brings back some old memories. Well, first, Richie, I want to start with the fact that when you came over here to the Cardinals, obviously it was June 16th, I believe, you were traded from the Guardians for cash considerations. What did you think about when you found out that you were coming to St. Louis, coming to the Cardinals?
For one, I was just so excited. I didn't know where I was ending up. It was all crazy. I was just sitting there waiting for the call. But when I heard I was going to St. Louis, I knew it was such a winning culture and a great fan base. So I was truly excited, and I knew a couple guys in the organization, so I was excited to be able to join my new team and know a couple guys before I got there, and I feel like that helped me for sure.
And so, what did you know about Cardinal Nation and the Cardinals coming into this? Because you also quickly became a fan favorite too, playing in the minors and then coming up here to the big club.
Well, I know they win. They win and they play hard and they play the Cardinal way. So for me, that's how I've always played. Just play with excitement and energy, but playing hard and giving the most effort every day. And I feel like that has helped me become a good player, and that's how the Cardinals have always played.
What was that like, just Cardinal Nation really welcoming you in on the fan side?
Yeah, it was exciting. It was exciting. Being able to have just that fan base, that support, is awesome. Wherever it is. But I didn't realize how big this fan base truly was. I heard about it, but now playing for it and seeing how the Cardinals Nation really rocks, it's an awesome feeling.
Now, let's go to the moment that you were able to come up to the big league club. What was that feeling like, and how did you find out? Where were you, and what was the feeling of, wow, I'm going to be able to come up here and try to make an impression quick?
Yeah, so when you're in AAA, you're always trying to get to the big leagues, but you want to focus on the day-to-day things that are going to make that happen. So I was just like trying to dominate each day in AAA, and figure some things out. And then I got that call that morning before that Mets game. And it was funny because I called my parents after and I was like, I'm going back to big leagues, and they were like screaming, excited. And then they were like, "We'll see you on Monday." And I'm like, "Okay, like whatever." And like I hang up the phone and then I look at my schedule and Monday was gonna be against the Pirates. So I was like, "Oh, this is perfect timing to get called up. I'd be able to play against my brother."
Everybody, seeing that whole sibling rivalry play out, that was one of my favorite moments of the second half of the season. You and your brother, Josh Palacios, who plays for the Pirates. What was that like, being able to play against your brother? I'm sure when you guys were younger, playing in the backyard, you dreamed of that moment, but to actually have it play out, what was that experience like?
Yeah, it felt like nothing I've ever experienced. I mean, it felt like we were in the backyard again, just like you said, playing against each other, playing wolf football against each other. It's what we always dreamed of, what we always prayed for as a family. So like to be able to do that on the biggest stage is like what we've always dreamed of and what we always wanted to happen.
Was there any trash talk too?
Any trash talk, only trash talk between us two during that series, and still now after the season's over, we're still coming down from that adrenaline of all the trash talk of who did better and who didn't. So the friends and family are a part of that too. They have their picks on who did better and who didn't. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, we were introduced to your parents too during the broadcast of that series where they were interviewed talking about you guys and just the pride that they have just seeing it all play out to have their two boys playing at the big leagues. And I loved what your mom said and your dad too about when asked about the trash talk. She said, "Well, we also get on the trash talk too." And she said it's an all in good fun, but what is that like too with your parents? You said you mentioned that they kind of do some trash talk as well.
Yeah, so my mom is the one that lets us know, like, hey, we need to have a better game. Like she's the one that'll flame you and let you know, like, hey, figure it out. and my dad is the one who's telling us what to do to have a better game because he's just more knowledgeable about baseball. My mom is just like, have a better game so your dad can be relaxed, and then we got to lock it in.
That is awesome. And just reflecting on the season, being able to play with your brother, I know that there's been so many big moments, but what would you say was your favorite moment coming over to the Cardinals this season? So from June on, what was your favorite moment? And also, what was your hardest lesson?
Ooh, that's two good questions. Uh, I mean, I haven't hit 2 home runs in my life, like, so that was a pretty big moment, but I will say the biggest moment for me was, being in left field for Wainwright's 200th victory. I mean, like, playing with veterans is an awesome thing, but playing with veterans who are making history is, like, a whole other thing, and that was something I haven't experienced at this level, so being behind Waino for his 200th victory was probably the was more sick than anything I've done this year because it was, like, surreal and being able to see this guy like go for so long and be able to still be competing out there and helping us win and be able to do it and make history was like sickest thing. And my hardest lesson, um, that's a really good one, but I would say it's just continually, just doing whatever it takes to help the team win. That's something I've learned last year, like not playing every day, and even this year, like it doesn't matter if you're playing every day as long as you're affecting the team positively and being able to help we get that W on the board and whatever it is.
We're not done talking to Richie Palacios just yet. Coming up next, we're going to talk to him about what it was like witnessing Adam Wainwright close out his career. That's ahead on the 101 on Sports here on Fox 2. 101 on Sports here on Fox 2. I'm your host, Brooke Grimsley. We go back to our conversation now with Cardinals newcomer and outfielder Richie Palacios. Richie talks about what it was like witnessing Adam Wainwright close out his historic career with the Cardinals. Getting a front seat to that, I'm just curious because, coming into this situation, you said what you knew about the Cardinals and also Cardinal Nation, the fan base, but being able to witness that, did that just drive you even more just seeing how the fans really embrace those players and also a legend?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it motivates you, even if you're not thinking about it. It definitely motivates you because that's the ending we want to all of our careers. We want to walk out when we want to walk out, not when like we're not good enough. So it motivates you to each and every day to like get to work and to make sure that you're doing the things you need to do to be successful. But on top of that, even taking care of your body so you can be able to do it for that long. So it was definitely motivating to me, just to see how they embrace him so much for all the things that he's done uh for the Cardinals, but also embracing him for the man that he is.
Did he give you any advice when you came up or even through the course of the season?
Yeah, Wayno was like a huge help to me. Um, I wasn't used to, sometimes being first getting on the team and like the most powerful like veterans coming up and talk to me right away. Usually, guys wait and make you earn some respect or all that. But like Wayno came up to me like first game and he was like, look, we know you play with energy. We know you play loud. We know you have fun. Like, please play that exact same way. Don't change anything now that you're in the major leagues. He was like, we need that, we want that, and we love that. And for me that's huge because that gives me the basis so I can play like myself and enjoy it and have the fun that we had a lot of the young guys have had. And that makes it just easier to do that, knowing that the leader of the team is telling you, look, this is what we want, like we know you bring it, like keep bringing that same energy. And that helped me a ton to get more comfortable with the guys and be able to play like myself.
Yeah, just being able to be yourself. I think that's why one of the many reasons why fans really gravitated towards you is because of your energy, your passion, just on and off the field. You really exude that. Where does that come from?
I would say that's came from my father, just in the way that he's raised us. He's raised us one just to enjoy the game first. Like when we were younger, it was just all about enjoying the game. It wasn't we're doing 1,000 drills at the age of like 6 years old. He instilled us the love of the game first, and then when we got to an age where we could actually learn some things, is when he started to give us pretty much good advice. So for me, he instilled a love of the game for me. So now anything I do, whether it's working, whether it's diving and jumping, it's like I'm doing all this for the love of the game, not because I'm trying to do anything else with it. Like, so he's instilled that in us, and I'm thankful for that.
And so now moving forward, of course, the offseason is starting for you right now. And it looks like you made a pretty good impression with the Cardinals. I know that Ollie Marmol had a lot of compliments that he threw towards your way. What is your goal going into 2024 when it comes to just competing in a spot on the roster for the Cardinals?
Yeah, in the off season, it's a long off season. So for me, it's just, these first week or two, I'm just looking at all the things that I can improve on. When it comes to how last season went, just any little thing that I can improve on. And then the off season is getting to work, being able to fine tune certain things, and to be able to be as consistent as possible. And that's what I train the most, is just whatever it is, base running, defense, hitting, like how can I be the most consistent? And when I train like that, I get a bit to maximize my ability.
And what did it feel like in the clubhouse and for yourself, just the way that I know that you weren't a part of the whole Cardinal season, but what was just the feeling for yourself and also in the clubhouse with everybody leaving, just knowing how the season went and ending in that way where it wasn't a postseason run?
Yeah, it was definitely, I guess you could say heartbreaking, because you want to be in the playoffs every year. But it's also motivating, and it's shown, with a lot of guys that we're gonna get to work during this off season. We're gonna do whatever it takes, to get back to the top, and we're gonna do that as a team. We're gonna do that as a culture. So it was definitely motivating to go home, not in the playoffs, but we know that this off season is gonna help a lot of us guys and a lot of us bond together, and figure out what we need to do as a team, to get to that playoff run.
And so do you envision yourself as an outfielder for the Cardinals into next season?
Yes, for sure.
That's the role and that's the goal for you?
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the goals. Just to be out there with the guys.
And you mentioned just working this offseason. I saw that you went to a hitting lab recently. So, what was that experience like for you? And was there something that you were specifically working on?
For me, it's just, I mean, analytics are so important in this day and age. So you kind of got to learn them as a player, because you can figure out things that you can get better on that you don't even realize. So when I went over there, just doing movement patterns, and trying to make my movements at the plate as efficient as possible. I wanted to go there right after the season where I was still in game shape, with the similar swing I had in the big league. So I went there and honed in on some things, and then whenever I start up again, I'm going to be, working on a couple of things that'll help me be, like I said, as consistent as possible.
Do you and your brother train together, or do you try to keep some secrets back on your training regimen?
No, there's no secrets at all. But we train mostly in separate. He trains in Florida and I train in Arizona. But we spend probably like every month, probably once, we come together, and we, try things and learn things from each other. But we text every single day. So even though we may not be working out together, we're giving each other tips, and things that we learned that'll help each other.
And also, what was it like to working with the likes of Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt in the second half of the season? Was there a lot of lessons that you learned and takeaways from then? I know you mentioned Adam Wainwright, and obviously he can teach you a lot too, but especially with those two hitters that have been around for so long.
They, gave me advice without, even telling me things. At sometimes, like, just the way they work. Like, I would go in there, and I always like to be like the first or second guy in the cage, just so I can get my routine in and not worry about time, like allotting time and stuff. And I would get there sometimes first, and like Nato, Goldschmidt are like already in there, like getting their stuff done, like trying to fine tune things. And for me, I'm looking at it like, wow, these guys are still hitting like 270 with like solid OPSs, but like the work is never done. Like rents due every day. So like they're in there locked in, trying to figure out things that'll get them even better. And that's motivating for anyone to see that, because especially as a young player, like it never stops. Like even if you're at the top of your game, like it never stops. You gotta keep working, because people are coming behind you.
How strong is your belief that the Cardinals will be able to turn things around next season?
Yeah, I have the strongest belief. I know that we have the guys, we have the personnel and the culture, to definitely make a playoff run, and I'm excited to go out there and be out with those guys, and be able to do that, for the first time for me as a Cardinal.
Coming up next, we're going to get to know Richie Palacios even better, including how he ended up playing for the Netherlands in the World Baseball Classic. That's coming up next on the 101 on Sports here on Fox 2. Welcome back to the one on one on sports here on Fox 2. I'm your host, Brooke Grimsley. We go back to our interview now with Cardinals outfielder Richie Palacios as we get to know him a little bit better, including how he ended up playing for the Netherlands in the World Baseball Classic. All right, now I have some quick hits for you, Richie, as the fans get to know you even better. So I have some questions for you, some fun ones, some serious ones. But I want to start out with you were able to play in the World Baseball Classic for the Netherlands. What was that experience like, and how did that come about?
So my mother is born in Curacao, which is was a colony of Holland. So of the Netherlands. So we were able to make that team, and they reached out to us probably a year before the classic, telling us that they wanted my brother and I to play. So, I mean, we grew up watching the World Baseball Classic as kids, and we always wanted to play in it because we saw how crazy the energy was, like how loud like the stadiums were, and how the cultures were colliding. So that was one thing that we always wanted to do. That was on our bucket list, and we were able to experience that together in Taiwan, which was like a whole other world for me. But it was definitely a sick experience, and to be able to say that I played in the World Baseball Classic.
That's awesome. And what is your walk up song and why?
This year I've had a couple. I had the song "You Mean" by Gunna, just because it's really a fan favorite. It's like one of the most famous songs. So I just liked it because I like the song, and I figured the people in the stands would bob their head to it. But I'm excited to see what I cook up for next season.
I'm just curious, do you change just based on what you think the fans would want? Or is it like, okay, I didn't have like a great appearance that last time or a great game, I got to change it?
I really choose it like what gets me locked in, but it's only just that much better when like, oh, the fans would like this too. It's like a double whammy.
That's awesome. What is your favorite hobby outside of baseball, obviously?
Favorite hobby outside of baseball? I would say golf. I'm not any good, but I have a great time, going with my friends and being able to golf and have a good time and just spend some time with the guys, with friends, with family. So I would say golf is my favorite hobby just because the time that it brings people together, and it's awesome.
I'm not good at golfing either. I'm just starting out. So I feel you. I like the experience of going out there, but it's like I wish I could be a little bit better at it. So it gets frustrating. I understand you on that one. Do you have a nickname with your teammates or friends? And if so, what is it?
Ooh. I mean, so my friends and family, like growing up, they always called me RJP, which were my initials because my dad is Richard as well. So they didn't want to mix the names up. So a lot of the guys, really in New York, like my friends and family, they all call me RJP. But when I get out of there, like and I'm not with my dad, everyone just calls me Richie.
I like that.
Yeah. But RJP, it sounds good. I know someone really knows you when they call me that.
Uh, so that's how you can in a crowd sort out like who knows you
Yeah, the
if
minute
they
I
say
hear
that.
RJP, I know that's someone I know very intimately. I'm gonna look back and be like, "Oh yeah, that's my boy."
It seems like you and your brother really like fashion. Who has the better fashion sense?
Oh, for sure, me. They asked this question yesterday on MLB. For sure, me. I'll blow him out the water. But he has decent fashion, but he doesn't.
So does he steal some of your clothes? You steal some of his, or is it just two very different fashion styles?
When I was younger, I would steal his clothes for sure. But now I was able to, get my own closet. So I don't need any of his stuff anymore.
How would you describe your style or fashion sense?
I would say it's like streetwear based. I mean, growing up in New York City, like that's kind of what a lot of people wear, and that's what's pushed over here. So like streetwear and like Jordans, and obviously that's I would say my style. But I like to switch it up based on the occasion.
There you go. And what is one food you could not live without?
I would say my dad's lasagna for sure. Every time I'm in New York, I love lasagna, and then I'll have my dad whip it up. So
What
I would
makes a
say
good
dad's lasagna.
lasagna?
Excuse me.
What makes a good lasagna? So what makes
It's
dad's top
not
tier?
not it can't be too cheesy for me. Like, it has to have cheese, but it can't be cheese dominant. Like, it cannot be cheese dominant or else I'm just, like, struggling through this thing. So if it's not cheese dominant, then it's gonna be perfect.
Well, because then that means usually if there's a lot of cheese, you're trying to cover up for something else. Like maybe
Yeah.
the sauce isn't as good, that kind of stuff. So I
Yeah,
understand
sauce. It's
that.
all about the
The
sauce.
sauce, yes. And last question for you. We'll see if your prediction's right with this. Who do you think is going to win the World Series this year?
Oof. I mean, so I'm not gonna cheat. From the beginning of the World Series, I said the Phillies. I
Okay.
thought the Phillies are gonna win the World Series. I don't want to change my because that's cheating based on what's going on. But like from the beginning, I said I feel like the Phillies will be the only team that could beat the Braves, and I feel like once they beat the Braves, I think they'll take it. But it's looking these Astros are looking extremely strong. So now, or in the Rangers too. But I'm gonna stick with my Phillies.
I know the Phillies are very interesting. It will be interesting to see how it all plays out. So
Yeah.
we'll come back to it. If you get this prediction right, you might need to put some money down. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. No money, no money.
No, well, yeah, you can't do that, right? Like, well, thank you so much, Richie, for joining us and taking the time to do this. I think everybody's really excited what will happen for you in 2024. And like I said, you've become a fan favorite and even stood out to me just with your energy and your passion. I think a lot of people appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
It was so great chatting with Richie Palacios, and I think we're all excited to see what he does next season for the Cardinals. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll see you next Sunday here on Fox 2 for another episode of the 101 on Sports.